Hello everyone, welcome back. Our next story is from AITAH for boarding a plane without my sister and leaving her and her kids behind. Throwaway account, fake names. I, 21F, am currently attending college in the same town where my sister, 27F, and her family live. We are about a 6-hour flight from our hometown, where our parents and extended family reside. We had planned to fly back to our hometown for Thanksgiving a few days ago. For some context, my brother-in-law, who I will call Bill, is an alcoholic. Any event where alcohol is available or purchasable ends with him causing problems. He gets into arguments, yells, throws things, and becomes generally aggressive. My sister arrived at the airport before me. When I got to the gate an hour and a half before boarding, Bill was nowhere to be seen. My sister was struggling to manage 3 small children and all their luggage on her own. Bill did not check on them once during the entire hour and a half. I only saw him when he staggered over to the waiting area right before boarding. As soon as my sister started talking to him, he became loud and aggressive. I watched from the boarding line. We were in different boarding groups, as the situation escalated to the point where security got involved. My sister waved me over, so I stepped out of line. She told me they weren't going to allow Bill to fly and said she needed help. I asked if I should take Bill's seat so I could sit next to one of the kids and help on the flight. She looked confused and repeated that Bill couldn't board with us. I asked if she planned to stay behind to sort things out with him, and she said yes. At that point, I told her I probably couldn't help much, as her kids would need her more than me. My sister seemed even more confused and then told me she expected me to stay behind and help her handle both her husband and the kids. I told her no. Traveling during the holidays is hectic, and it would be nearly impossible to get seats on a later flight if Bill wasn't allowed to fly or if the situation worsened. I was excited to see our family, and I felt that her kids were her responsibility, not mine. She got upset, saying she didn't know how to manage Bill and didn't know what to do if he couldn't fly. I told her that wasn't my problem. Bill is not a child who needs supervision, and she shouldn't have to deal with him throwing a tantrum and getting into trouble with security. I suggested we could both board the plane and let Bill face the consequences of his actions. She insisted that Bill was her responsibility. I replied that if she knew how he behaves when he drinks, she should have taken steps to prevent this situation. I also told her the situation was a result of her choices. She chose to marry an alcoholic, not me. I wasn't going to miss Thanksgiving with our family because her husband couldn't control himself. I boarded the flight, and she stayed behind. My family was happy I made it, but several of them, including my mom, called me insensitive for what I said and for not staying to support my sister. Am I the jerk? Our next story is from AITAH for telling my 19-year-old daughter she will have to move out of my house if I get divorced because of her lies after her stepdad saw her naked. Throwaway account due to the situation, but I need to know because I am getting calls and texts from family accusing me of not siding with my daughter. My husband and I have been married for a little over 5 years now. My daughter, 19F, and my husband have an okay relationship, not quite father-daughter, but they have an advice-giving and receiving type of relationship. I have never noticed anything unusual from my husband toward my daughter, and my daughter has never expressed any concerns or hinted at anything inappropriate either. On Thursday, my husband and I were watching a movie in the living room. We paused the movie when he got up to use the bathroom. I heard him knock on the bathroom door twice, 3 knocks each time, spaced a few seconds apart. It was loud enough for me to hear from the living room. Then, I suddenly heard screaming. I rushed to the bathroom and found my daughter completely naked, covering herself, and yelling at my husband to get out. I did not see everything that happened, but I saw my husband stumbling over his feet, struggling to close the bathroom door. When I asked him what happened, he explained that he knocked, got no response, and thought the bathroom was empty. He said when he walked in, he saw my daughter naked in front of the mirror and immediately tried to leave. After my daughter calmed down, I asked for her side of the story. She said she was changing when my husband suddenly walked in. I asked why she did not respond when he knocked. She claimed he never knocked. I told her I heard him knock, so I was certain he did. She then admitted she did not hear it because she had her earbuds in and was listening to music. We resolved the situation. My husband apologized to her for the mistake and explained he thought the bathroom was empty. My daughter even hugged him and apologized for yelling. The problem started when my daughter involved family members, who are now calling my husband a creep. My sister called to berate me for still having my husband in the house. I asked her what she meant, and it turned out my daughter had told a completely different story. She left out the part about wearing earbuds and claimed she answered the door before my husband walked in on purpose. We have cameras in the hallway, and the footage clearly shows my husband knocking on the bathroom door, but the cameras do not record audio. I confronted my daughter about the lies. She denied spreading any false stories but went silent when I asked how my sister knew what happened. She then admitted she had talked to her cousin and speculated about scenarios, but she insisted she did not intend for this to spread. Yesterday, I kept receiving calls and texts from family members, and the false story was spreading like wildfire. My husband was being labeled a creep. I sat my daughter down again and had her read some of the things being said about him. I told her she needed to fix this because her lies caused it. She refused, saying she only spoke to her cousin and does not want to tell anyone the truth because they will think badly of her. She insisted it would blow over. Everything escalated when my husband packed his bags and announced he was going to stay with his parents because he could not handle being falsely accused. My daughter broke down, apologized repeatedly, and promised to fix it, but my husband still left. I told her that if I get divorced because of her lies, she will need to move out. I explained that she must take responsibility for what she did and tell everyone the truth. I refused to lose a loving and caring husband over lies. She begged for my help, but I told her this was her mess to fix. She is an adult, and her lies for attention caused this situation. Now I am being accused of taking my husband's side and not providing a safe space for my daughter. My husband asked for space, my daughter is inconsolable, and I am struggling to cope with everything. I apologize if this post is scattered. I am overwhelmed and not even sure if my title is correct.
That's it for now. See you in the next post.